UFC. I am the greatest combat athlete of all time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Tell the Tape. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C. On this episode of Tell the Tape, I'm going to be breaking down, that's right, Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. The strength, the weaknesses, and who is this more likely to come out up top? Again, this is a clash of styles. This is a guy that has a Polish power. Actually, not really. I take that back. There actually is two guys. It's power versus power. But who is it that's going to have more of an IQ that's more likely to get that victory? This episode wouldn't be brought to you by the one and only Cookie Code. When you guys want to indulge, you guys want all natural ingredients, you guys make sure to go to cookiecode.com and find the nearest store near you. Guys, enough talk. Let's take it to the big screen. Okay, so here we have it. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. I mean, right away, I want you guys to see this. I mean, Jan has 30 more fights in mixed martial arts than Alex Pereira. It's a trip. You know, talk about experience in mixed martial arts. But I'm sure in competition, he has, you know, over hundreds of fights from boxing to Muay Thai to kickboxing to all that stuff. So, you know, 6 KOs. You know, he's only 6 KOs to 9 KOs, you know, 6'4". He's tall. He's actually taller than Jan, 6'2". Reached 78 to 79. 40 years old to 36. I had no idea Alex Pereira was actually 36. He's one of us, man. He's, you know, he's an old fart like Triple C. And now, without further ado, let's get to the tell of the tape. The strengths of Jan Blachowicz MMA experience. Right away with 30 more fights. With 30 more fights that Jan has. Wow, I mean, 30 more fights is a lot, man. 30 more fights is, I mean, that's experience, man. That's experience at its finest. I mean, he's become the UFC champion of the world. He understands that championship experience. His other strength is his grappling, his wrestling. He landed 3 takedowns versus Izzy. He was actually able to smother Izzy for those 3 rounds. I mean, you know, Jan is his wrestling skill, his ability. He does have power. Maybe he doesn't have the power in his hands like he does against a guy like Alex Pereira, but he does have that beautiful power, and the fact that he stayed on top of Israel Adesanya for the majority of the fight when they fought for the 3rd time. And obviously, you know, there's a reason why they call it the Polish power. I remember watching that fight with Israel Adesanya, and then just his jab alone was kind of like a right hand. He would, boom, you would see Israel Adesanya's head just cock back. And even though Israel did have the height advantage and the reach advantage, this man was able to get in there and be smart and boom, be able to pull and take the lighter guy out. So these are some of the strengths. Number 1, his MMA experience. He's got 30 more fights than Alex Pereira. Number 2 is his grappling, his wrestling. And I think that's going to be one of the kryptonites that's going to probably take, if he does decide to give that game plan to a guy like Alex Pereira. And then his Polish power. Do not be confused by these hands. Do not sleep on these things. Yeah, as I said before, he doesn't have that Alex Pereira left hook that will knock you off senseless, but he has that power. And now let's get to his weaknesses. Jan has a really hard time of adjusting fights. When he was fighting Glover, he never really adjusted with Glover. Like Glover pretty much out-wrestled him and he out-grappled him as a 42 or 43-year-old man. Like, he was able to do certain things, and he was able to be taken to places where a lot of people, you know, did not take him. He never really did those fight adjustments. You know, even when he fought Ankulaev, like Ankulaev was just picking him apart. I want to say he won. Somehow it was a draw, but he only won 1 round out of the whole 5 rounds, and somehow it was a draw, which I thought it was kind of crazy. You know, he can overthink a little too much. You know, sometimes I don't know if he's decisive, and I think that has a lot to do with adjustments. I don't know if he's an overthinker or he gets caught up in the moment. When you see it once, you see it twice. It's a deficiency that he has, and you got to be careful with. And then the other one is he will get popped. He will get popped. His defense could be a little suspect, not just for the takedowns, which is something that he doesn't have to worry about with Alex Pereira. But, you know, he does get hit. He does get clocked. I want to say he has been knocked out before, too. So this is something that he needs to be careful with. And he needs to really polish up if he wants to be victorious against a guy that throws a nasty left hook and a nasty right low kick like Pereira. But without further ado, let's get to his rival, Alex Pereira. His strengths, his experience in combat. Yeah, it may not be experience in mixed martial arts, but the experience of competition. You know, with 40 kickboxing fights. You guys imagine that? You know, which is really not a lot of fights, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this is stuff that I used to get per year in as a senior in wrestling. You know, his biggest strengths is his left hook and his right calf kick. But when I tell you about his biggest strength, like they're right there. I mean, a 2-division Glory World champ, you know, that has power, that's just not a point fighter, that has that nasty left hook, and he'll go to the bottom, and he'll eventually kind of kick you from with that calf kick. If he's able to do that against against Jan Blachowicz, I mean, the probabilities of him winning and doing very, very well, you know, his possibility of winning, they just go much, much higher than we anticipated. You know, another strength of his is he's fighting the guy who was defeated by, you know, he trains with Glover Teixeira, who defeated Jan Blachowicz at UFC 267. So, I mean, that's big, man. That's big. Even though he doesn't have the style of a guy like Glover Teixeira, he's training with somebody in grappling that has better grappling than the opponent that he's actually fighting. You know, that says a lot, man. Like that's a huge strength, and this is why Glover is a big part of Alex Pereira's career. And the last one is his championship mindset. When you're able to become a 2-division champ in Glory kickboxing, and then you're able to become a UFC champion, I mean, you have to have a certain mindset. Your mind has to be able to trickle a certain way where it's just like, where you're just second to none. You know, so these are some of the strengths that Alex Pereira has. But now, let's go over his weaknesses, like we all have them. MMA experience. He only has 9 total career fights in the sport of mixed martial arts. You know, that's not a lot, man. Like, he's still, like, I remember having 9 fights. Like, I was still discovering who is it that I actually was. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you may be you may have a good boxing game, a good grappling game in X, Y, and Z, but when it comes to the sport of mixed martial arts, can you actually understand it as a whole? Because you have to understand boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking, distance, and then on top of all that, you have to learn how to mix it for your sport, and then according to your opponent and according to his strengths. MMA experience is a little down. He's been catching the right fights for him to be able to become a world champion, you know, but he also kind of skipped the line. He skipped Paulo Borrachinha. He skipped Marvin Vettori. He skipped Jared Cannonier. He skipped Robert Whittaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about somebody that they literally kind of fast-tracked it to fighting Israel Adesanya because of the storyline. You know, could also come back and actually haunt him. But it seems like they're doing the same thing with a guy like Jan Blachowicz. He wins one fight and he's fighting for the title once again. This is what happens when you're a spectacle, when you're a knockout artist, what the UFC will do. Anyhow, his grappling, his takedown defense. I mean, if you get a guy like Israel Adesanya to take you down, there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, your grappling, your takedown defense is probably a 4. You know what I'm saying? When you get to that level, but your striking is a damn 10, 10 and a half, 12, let's call it. You know, this is where I feel like more likely Jan Blachowicz is probably going to take the fight. Yeah, can get tired of pushed and grappling. You know, I saw it in that Israel fight, and their first time they fought. He got tired, man. He was able to catch that second win because Israel was tired too. But if you're able to kind of bring in, if you watch him that fight that he did lose in jungle fights other than Israel Adesanya, I mean, the dude was a mediocre fighter with grappling, and he just grappled him to death, and he was able to beat Alex Pereira. And then the last thing is he's coming off a loss 3 months ago against Israel Adesanya. I mean, after being knocked out viciously like that, are you ready to get back in there? Are you ready to feel that? Are you ready to feel 100%? Or is it just something that you just want to fill that void after losing? Because it happens to all of us. After every champion that's done it before loses, there's something that happens within you that you want to get it back. And it's not always the best idea for you to come back and actually get it, because you may not be 100%. Your mind may want to, but your mind is not also. Your mind also has a switch now. You know, you've been hurt, you've been rocked before. And right here we have it. We have the punch stat here. Strikes landed per minute, 5.23, which is more likely where he's going to take it. To strikes absorbed per minute. From 2.81 to 3.7. Strike accuracy 59% to 49. Takedown average 0.97 to 0.28. And then I think this is the key. But this is kind of hard to kind of come about, because he has a higher percentage, but he's only been in the UFC. It's always stayed here. He may feel better at light heavyweight, but this one's up for grabs, man. I do think that at the highest levels, that dude comes into that tactical sense, and I'm trying to wonder if Jan Blachowicz is gonna keep his hands up, protect his legs, and then look for takedowns. Because if he doesn't, he's in trouble with the lighter man, who is also a big light heavyweight going up. I mean, this guy could potentially go to heavyweight and feeling very, very well. I mean, the dude is huge. The dude is massive. 6'4" of Brazilian twisted steel. I won't say the sex appeal part, but you guys know what I'm saying. So if I have to choose somebody, again, if he fights tactically, he wins. He has to take risks. The more risks that he takes, he wins. It's just hard. This is a hard decision. I just don't know sometimes the Polish power, whether he shows up or not. I've seen it in the past. I've seen him not fight the fight. I've seen him not make those adjustments. So for that reason, I gotta go with, I don't know if I can put an arrow here, Poatan, the Brazilian, the native of Brazil, Poatan, to be able to win. I don't know if they give gold medals and glory, but I'm gonna have to go with Alexander Poatan. I think yet the only thing that does scare me with him is him being knocked out about 3 months ago. But then other than that, I think those leg kicks, I believe that left hook, and I believe sometimes you don't know what you get sometimes with Jan. Even though if Jan becomes tactical, I think he easily wins it. But if he doesn't finish this dude, if he doesn't take him down, it's gonna be 3 fights of them starting on their feet once again. I just see that left hook becoming extremely vicious. So for that reason, I'm going Alex Pereira. So there you have it, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C. You guys just watched Tell the Tape. A big thank you to our sponsors. That's right, Cookie Co. Whenever it is that you guys want to indulge, you guys want all natural ingredients, you guys want cookies and cream, you guys want cinnamon swirl, they have it all. So you guys make sure to go to cookieco.com and find the local store near you. Again, I'm Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C, and we are out.